Welcome, welcome. So today I wanted to bring on one of my clients, Sara Louerio. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right. Sara, she's amazing. And we're going to be talking about her experience with coaching. As soon as she is on, we will get started. The doors to the Impact Formula are officially open. So you're going to want to go to impactdrivenentrepreneur.com/impact-formula and you can join us. We have some very, very exciting and important different things that were this year or this time, this enrollment with the program. So the first different thing that we're doing, which is super exciting, and I'm just like so amazed and honored and thrilled to be offering it, which is a money back guarantee. You try this program, you do the program, and you don't see a change, you don't experience growth, you don't love it, like you don't think it was worth it, I'll give you back your entire investment in coaching. And so the program is a 1-year program. And I realize for some of you that may feel kind of like a long-term commitment, but I want to make sure that you understand in the first, pretty much immediately, in the first week or two, you're going to start working on a cash infusion campaign. Clients in the past who have gone through the cash infusion campaign and implemented it have made back more than their entire investment in coaching in that first couple of weeks. For example, we had somebody join in December. She went through the cash infusion campaign. In the first 2 weeks of coaching, she made more money than the entire previous quarter. Okay. So this is a really exciting opportunity for you if you're looking to add more money to your bottom line, build a sustainable, predictable income with your business, right? Maybe you've been kind of chugging along, you're up and down with your business. This program helps you to bring consistent, recurring, consistent revenue. Okay. Like that's the whole point of the program. So impactdrivenentrepreneur.com/impact formula. A couple of other important announcements. You are going to get a bonus specifically around mindset. So if you are struggling to own the value of what you do, if you're struggling with really the confidence piece, the visibility, like afraid of being visible, afraid of sales, like any of that, we are going to do a mindset bonus specifically around all of those concepts so that you can really move forward from a place of confidence, certainty, and really just feeling great about your business. That's one of my biggest goals. Oh, hi, Sara. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you? I love your hair.
So I wanted to share with everybody kind of like where you were when you began the program and like kind of what your thoughts were, where you were with your business, and then we'll progress from there and talk about your experience overall.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So where I was at when I started. So I have worked with coaches before. And I think I told you this, Mariana, when I first started, I was like, I had already made my first 5-figure month. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm pretty good at, like signing up one-on-one clients. I'm pretty good at like all of that kind of stuff. But one thing that I really, really wanted to push forward and really dive deeper into was just going bigger, creating more of an impact, having more of a variety of different programs that I'd be able to offer my audience. And in the past, I've really, really struggled with that because I'm sure anyone who's launched a group program knows that it's not a walk in the park, right? So I've done really well with like passive income products and one-on-one and all that kind of stuff, and I love it. But that was one of the areas that I was really struggling with. And that was one of the things that I was like, I need help. Like I know at this point in time, the amount of knowledge that I've gained thus far and the mindset work that I've gained thus far is not enough for me to get to the next level. And I had been following Mariana for a few years. Back when you had like your first Facebook group, and I really trusted you. I think that was a big thing for me because I feel like there's a lot of coaching in this industry that is just like a little bit fluffier in terms of like, like you can have everything you want and then, but like not really fully understanding like all of the strategy and all of the mindset work behind it. So after, like kind of being in your group for a while, like listening to a lot of your lives and things like that, I was like, okay, this is the person who I feel like I trust the most with with being able to help me to get to where I want to go.
Awesome. And what did you notice that was different, say, like in coaching with me compared to when you coached with other coaches?
I think the experience level is huge. And that's something that I'm really, really grateful for, because there are a lot of people who are really new to the industry, and like that's totally fine. But when you want to get to a certain level, and when you want to like really explode your business, not just work on like niching and like very simple launching and things like that, you definitely need someone who really, really knows their shit. And that's one thing. And then I would say that another thing has 100% been the support. So, the after hours support, the like actually taking the time to review all of my documents and like all of my emails and all of my processes, like that's been really incredible. And I've been really, really grateful for that. So thank you so much. Because I know that a lot of people wouldn't go above and beyond for that kind of stuff. Like I've had friends who even worked with coaches before who get directed to their like assistants, right? Like rather than getting directed to them directly. And I think that it's really important to have someone who really, really cares. And who is going to be there with you. And, like if something goes wrong or if something doesn't go as planned, like it's about working together on that. So I would say that like those are the two biggest things. So one, it's like definitely the amount of knowledge that you've been able to provide in terms of strategy, in terms of even just like mindset and NLP framework, and that support, I think, has been really key.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh my gosh. I love hearing from you. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, yes. Like I get so excited. Okay. And what strategies were some of the strategies you implemented during the time we worked together?
Oh my goodness. So many.
Maybe I guess we could just like nail it down to like a couple, right? Like I think one was hiring was a huge one for you, right? Like the hiring, the structure of your business.
And it wasn't just necessarily hiring, because I think that for a lot of people, it's just like, okay, I'm going to get, and I hired before I started working with you, right? I had a VA. I ended up hiring, I think, 2 or 3 people before I started working with you. But I think the biggest difference there is like, it's one thing to like go on a website and hire someone from Upwork or something like that. It's a completely different thing to know how to manage them and to like constantly stay on top of their work and to know how to train them. And I think that that's a huge thing. That it's huge. And this is something that I'm now teaching to my clients, because it's literally, it's not just like job posting, hire someone, give them all this work, right? It's the constant management. I think that has really, really helped me to the point where I trust my team so much now to do specific things because I understand their skills. Whereas before, I was like micromanaging, but at the same time, like not keeping up with consistent updates from them. And it was a little bit more of a mess, essentially, in the way that we work together.
What other strategies for you did we do? Ooh. We did a podcast launch. So yeah, so many things.
So when I started with Mariana, I was kind of, and I'm just this type of person. I was like, I want to like have a huge impact. Like this is my vision. Like these are all the things that I want. And so I did a lot of things relatively quickly in a relatively short period of time. So I launched and relaunched a group program. I did a lot more advanced ad strategy, which I've loved, because I've been taught ad strategy from like probably 4 people already. But the way that you taught it and the way that you were able to kind of like work out the kinks has just been, now I'm just kind of like, I literally don't need to learn from anyone else anymore. Like advanced ad strategy in terms of retargeting, I think has been really huge. The podcast launch was like huge. That was something I had no idea how to do. And a few like extra strategies that I've learned in terms of like messaging and things like that to like really be able to nurture my community and go that much further with it. Yeah, see, there's been so much.
There's been so much. I think you've done amazingly. So I think one question someone might have listening to this and like hearing all the things you did, they're going to be like, but I don't even know if I can do that or if I want to do that, right? So I want them to kind of hear from your perspective, right? Like, how did those things come about, right? Like, those were things you wanted to do. Did you know that going into coaching, or was that something that like came out through the coaching and like was just felt like the natural next step for you?
I think that I really needed to give myself permission to do a lot of the things that I'm doing. And a lot of these things weren't necessarily things that I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to do when I start working with Mariana. And I think that one of the amazing parts of this as well is that group launching or like launching anything is incredibly exhausting when you do it on your own, right? Like it's something that like, and I think even for my clients, like there seems to be this thing where it's just like, oh, it's going to be so much easier to launch a group program or like a passive income product than it is to onboard one-on-one clients, and it's the exact opposite. And I think that I'm not necessarily trying to scare anyone with this. What I'm trying to say is that it's not as overwhelming once you can have a team and once you learn how to manage your team, because I'm at the point now where I've done all of my material for my launches, and like my VAs essentially did like 70% of the work. 70% of the time, like the time stuff,
Intensive,
right?
yeah.
The time intensive stuff. So like the sales pages, the graphics, like some of the like client nurture stuff, like even stuff that's as simple as, you know, like helping me with my email marketing, all of that kind of stuff. And so I essentially have the vision. I write my emails, I write my content, but like they distribute it and they do everything else. And so this 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 current launch that I'm in feels so much more like a walk in the park. And it's because I've been able to really utilize that. And once you're able to utilize all that, and you've been teaching me this a lot, but once you're able to utilize the power of team, like things just become infinitely easier. And then it's not about like, how am I going to do all of that? I won't have the time, or I don't have the energy, right? Like, how could I launch, you know, like a group program and then a podcast and then a mastermind and then another group program? And once you understand that it's not only about you, I think that that's where it comes in. So so that would be my like tip with that. If you feel like everything is really overwhelming, it's definitely like utilizing the power of team. And the way that you taught me as well is this whole like, you don't need to spend $50 an hour on, you know,
Yes. I was
someone
going to bring that up. I'm so glad you did.
you know, or even like $25 an hour, especially if you're first starting out in terms of your scaling. There are so many different ways that you can utilize like really, really amazing assistance that will be a lot lower cost for you. So that at the end of the day, it's less stress on you financially, so you can actually invest a lot of that money back into growth, for example, which is like so important for your business and for launching different products. Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Tell us about like the types of results that you experience during coaching. It can be, I think I give you the paper. So what do you want to share?
Yeah. Okay. So hitting consistent 5-figure months was a huge thing for me. And I think that I have these like massive goals with everything that I do. And I think that a huge result that I have gotten is understanding what it is that I want, and understanding why it is that I want it. Because when I have when I have goals that aren't really aligned to me, I self sabotage them. I self sabotage them all the time. And so, money mindset work has been huge. And just this whole like understanding that I am deserving of receiving. And that the more that I'm able to make, the more of an impact that I'm able to make in the world, and the more of a change that I'm able to make, like in my community. So those kinds of things have been huge for me. I'm bringing in like 800 people, 800 new people into my email list in 1 month. It was absolutely nuts. And I was like, how am I going to be able to do this? And I kept on asking Mariana. I was like, this is what I want to do. How can I do it? It seems completely impossible for me. And so when she started to show me all of the different ways that I can do it, I was like, okay, I did it. Like I literally did all of those different ways. And within 1 month, I got 800 new people into my community, which is like 800 people is usually what I used to get into my community in maybe like 7 or 8 months. But the fact that I now have that strategy and I know exactly how to do that and I know exactly how to recreate that has been really incredible. And I mean, I already, like I said, I've already got, like, I think I already got fully booked before I even started working with you. So in terms of in terms of client onboarding, I like you definitely helped me with a few more strategies with that. And I'm really grateful for that too. Oh, and I think a huge result has been just like learning how to launch effectively. I think that's been huge because there's a lot of people who are teaching launching, but like really effective launching, I think is like an art. And I think that I'm really finally starting to understand that process. And that's not something that you can just purchase from like a passive income product or something like that. I think there's so much more that goes into it. There's the mindset work, there's the strategy work. But as soon as you start to create that for yourself, like that just opens up an entirely new avenue of what you're able to do in your business.
Yeah. And when you said I already got fully booked, I remember when we started working together, you were pretty much close to fully booked or fully booked.
Mm-hmm.
But now the rise of your income has come because you've been able to increase your prices, right? Like,
yes,
you really increase your prices and like owning that. And then like also seeing, okay, what is the next level of this, right? And just continuing to expand with that.
Right.
So I think that's been huge.
Yes. Sorry. That is huge. That is what I've pretty much more than doubled my rate. And that's because, and I've talked to you about this a lot, and I'm just kind of like, I know so much more than so many of the people, so much knowledge that I have, because I've been in this industry for over 3 years too, right? Like I've been doing all of this work. And so I was like, at the prices that I was at before, I was like, but I can take people so much further. And I think that that's something that you really helped me with. I think that that's something that you really helped me see, was the fact that like there's a lot here. Like there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of like certifications and all of that kind of stuff that I've been able to gain from it. And I think that being able to provide my clients like a much more superior quality service, because of the fact that if I have higher rates, I'm also taking on less clients and I'm also giving more attention to those clients. I think has been really, really huge. And I was just talking to you about this, about how like signing up clients on my new rates has actually been easier than signing up clients on my old rates. Because they understand that value and they understand the fact that like they want someone who actually knows what they're talking about, and who can really, really like get them to where they want to be. So I think that really owning that has been huge for me, and that's been a big result, because without working with you, I probably wouldn't have gone this far in terms of really owning that value. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I think the other thing that I wanted to bring up here too is like, you've been 3 years in this industry, but in this business, you've only been in this business for like less than a year. So I do want to like commend you for how amazing you've done in your first year of business. Like you've gotten to consistent, 5-figure months. You've done amazingly well, and you obviously launched several programs and hired people. Like, this is possible for you no matter where you are in your business.
Yes. And it's so funny because like even in my first business, it took me like 2 years to get up to like 900 people in my Facebook group. Like I hit 1,000 people, I think like within like 6 months or something like that here, because once you understand this stuff, like once you understand how to grow, how to create the impact, like it can really just happen so much quicker for you if you allow it, right? If you allow it.
Totally. Okay, so what do you think is next for you in your adventure? Like, what do you feel is your next like exciting thing that you're working on?
Uh,
Well, I think the mastermind, because you're kind of like in it.
yes, the mastermind is a huge it's like a huge part of what I really want to do next, and the way that I really want to support women on like a longer term scale. Uh Ooh, I love this question. I haven't been thinking about this because I've been so like involved in like the next few months. But I okay, big vision for me is I've talked to you about this, Mariana, but we're currently building our home in Nicaragua. So last year my husband and I we were living in Toronto, like hustling the 9 to 5 and all that kind of stuff. And then we sold all of our things, like absolutely crazy. I quit my job of 7 years and I moved here. And it's been really incredible. And so we're building our home. And after building our home, my husband's dream is to build a bed and breakfast, like build like a little hotel. And so we have all of those designs in the works. And eventually, I would love to be able to do retreats here. So women's business retreats in Nicaragua. So like both where I am, which is like in the mountains, and on the beach. Doing a lot of like, I think my next step here is like in-person events because I really love that. And so once I kind of stabilize everything that I'm doing right now, I think like 2020 is going to be like that next big step for me. And just really growing the mastermind, growing my group program that's going to be relaunched a few times this year. And yeah, and continuing to give the one-on-one support that I give to my clients as well.
Awesome. Love it. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
What is your favorite like tool or trick or tactic or something that like you've learned in Impact Formula, like that has been useful for you?
Yes. I think definitely utilizing Facebook Messenger to create relationships has been huge. And there's so many different ways that you can create relationships via Messenger and just being able to support your community that much more. But I think that the way that you show it and the different like avenues that you have to kind of work with it, I think that from the impact formula, I feel like that's probably been one of the biggest pieces for me. It's just like learning that specific strategy because I've learned it before and I think some people teach it, but not this much, like not this advanced,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think like not so much in a heart-centered way, right? Like we're not about pushy. In fact, we get a lot of phone calls from Facebook Messenger because people say you're the only one I trust to get on the phone with because you're not spamming my inbox, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And so being able to do it that way, and I've even kind of like taken all of that and just kind of like created my own way of doing it as well. And so yeah, that's been like one of the biggest pieces because you're absolutely right. Like there's some people who are kind of teaching it who it's more of just like, yeah, let's just like post and post and post and post and post. Whereas I feel like there's a really nice medium in here. And I feel like for the longest time I didn't really know how to like initialize that conversation. But now it feels just like so much better for me.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. It's been amazing chatting with you and like sharing your success and your story with our audience. So thank you so much for coming on, Sara.